Wouldn't it be nice if you could look at your chart plotter and see the direction and the speed that the other boats are going? What if you wanted to hail another vessel? Wouldn't it be nice if you knew the name of their boat to hail them on the radio? In this video, we're going to talk about the benefits of AIS for you on your boat. If you've got AIS, please list which transponder you're using in the comment section below.
Close your eyes, hear the voice within, calling this heavy.
AIS stands for Automatic Identification System. Its primary purpose is to aid in collision avoidance. It augments radar, which just shows you that something is there. AIS lets you know who they are, how fast they're going, and which way they're headed. Here's some examples of how we've used AIS on channel surfing. On our Southeast Alaska trip, we were leaving Tracy Arm, and we were cutting in front of the entrance to Endicott Arm. There was a large cruise ship that was coming in, and they hailed me on the VHF, wanting to know my course intentions so we would avoid a collision. If I was continuing on my course, then no changes had to be made. They were worried that I was actually turning into Endicott Arm, which is where they were going, right? It was nice hearing them call me by name on the radio because it immediately got my attention. Another time, we were traveling through the British Columbia Inside Passage, Lemon Drop and I, and we were doing about 26 knots, and there was this large boat coming up behind us that was doing 27 knots. They'd been following us for a while, and they were slowly gaining on us. They were a large boat, and the driver hailed us by name on the VHF to let us know that he was getting ready to pass us, and he throws a 6-foot wake, and he was showing us courtesy so that we wouldn't get tossed around his wake. Worked out good. There was actually an island that we weren't that far from, so we just went and cut around the back side of the island and used that as a shield from his wake as he went past on the inside of the island. Another instance, Glacier Bay. This one was actually cool. I used AIS to watch all the tour boats that were running around in Glacier Bay, which helped me quickly find out where the boils were bubble feeding by just following the path on the AIS to where the tour boats were and watching the speed. Normally they were doing 6-7 knots. When they slowed down to close to 0 knots, I knew they had stopped because there was something interesting there to go look at. In Tracy Arm, looking up by Sawyer Glacier, there were lots of large icebergs, and they showed up on radar, so all I saw was all these blips on radar. It was great to have AIS to tell which were the few other boats that were up there that weren't actually icebergs. Around Puget Sound and San Juans, I use AIS to tell me which direction a ferry is headed. Ferries look like they're going both ways, right? Also lets me know how fast they're going. It also helps with navigating around all of the commercial boat traffic that we have, especially through the VTS, the vessel traffic system that goes through Puget Sound. Being able to know from miles away just how fast that cargo ship is going or how slow that tug is towing that barge lets me make informed decisions to easily avoid them. All commercial craft is required to run a Class A AIS transponder. Recreational boats are not required to run AIS, but if they choose to do so, should go with a Class B transponder. The Class B transponders are less expensive, they use less power than the Class A's do. You also want an AIS unit that's not just a receiver, you want it to be a transponder as well, so that it transmits info about your own vessel. You want others to see you as well. That way other people can avoid you as much as you're trying to avoid them. The effective range of a Class B AIS transponder is about 12 to 14 nautical miles. Most units can be installed with a VHF splitter and therefore do not require an additional VHF antenna. Installation is simple, requires power, a NEMA 2000 connection. It also needs a GPS antenna, which often works using the internal antenna on the AIS unit. Each AIS unit is required to have its own GPS antenna. You can't share an antenna with an AIS unit. AIS also requires an MMSI number. This number is assigned to the boat, and it's the same MMSI number that you would use for your VHF radio. Think of this like a phone number for the boat. It's unique to every boat. Boat US gives them out for free, but if you plan to use them outside of the US, such as Canada, you should go to the FCC and get one issued. It's about $200 and is valid for 10 years. Having the FCC MMSI number means should you have an emergency and you use that red emergency distress button on your VHF radio, which is programmed with your MMSI number, the local authorities, even outside the USA, would have access to that emergency contact information. They would know the name of your vessel, the length, the type of your boat, location, etc. On channel surfing, we've got a Vesper XB8000 on board. Unfortunately, they stopped making that unit when Garmin bought Vesper, but there are many other units available that you can add to your boat. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoyed watching this video, click the screen to watch another.